Mark Chernoff.
Journey.
And I guess Dove said he selected the song, and it sounds like one of the old bridge packs that we used to have back at the in Astoria, back in the old days.
Journey, come on in here, buddy.
Good to see Mark. Oh,
Get him on the air. Let's go,
okay.
Cherns.
All right.
Say hi to everybody. Legend, let's go. Mark Chernoff is in the studio.
You know what I love most about Mark? His love.
He's gone?
Well, no, he brought me back. I mean, come on. That's a you
But you also fired him the first
well,
time.
but he had to. I stand by that. But you did bring me back. Like there was this narrative. Oh, without Mark or without Spike, you wouldn't have been. No, Mark brought me back. He's the one who had me first here. So anyway, what I love most about Mark BT is his love for radio, because Mark, you made plenty of money and ran this place forever and easily could have retired. As I fill here before you untangle those headphones.
Come on, man. Your first time touching headphones.
You're on the air. You want to work on the air. You just got to flip that one.
You don't
right
need
there.
headphones. We're right next to you.
No, he wants to hear that. What, Mark? What's happening here? Yeah,
Look at this.
Damn thing.
Wait, this. Yeah, he loves radio so
That's why I don't want to. Oh, yeah.
He can't put the headphones on.
Okay, it wasn't me.
Look at those damn things, boss. There you go.
There we go. Whoa,
but no, you're on the air regularly. You could have just retired and lived a nice easy life. You want to be on the air.
Barely, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
right.
They don't work anymore.
Oh, God.
Oh, come on, Mark. Just get on the mic, will you? This is big.
That's okay.
Hey, Journey, you're a step away from getting booted. Come on, buddy.
Well,
what are you doing to us here, Mark?
Hey, guys, you know that I'm doing music shows. One of the stations is down in Jersey, 107.1 The Boss. I work with Robbie Bridges down there. And the great Ross Britton does shifts there.
I remember Ross from, was that the Z Morning Zoo back in the
Z
day?
Morning Zoo, and before that, the old WABC when they still played music.
Yeah.
And I also still work for this company down in Washington, D.C. on 94.7 The Drive. So I do shifts down there. I go in live, do them all in person.
Attaboy.
And I told you guys I was a music jock and a music PD the first half of my radio career.
What's your favorite band to play?
Favorite band to play? No, I wouldn't say there's a favorite band to play, but I love Crosby, Stills, Nash. I love Pink Floyd. I love Led Zeppelin. I love The Who, The Beatles, The Stones, The Doors.
Okay.
The Doors might be my favorite band of all time.
Really? I don't remember you talking a lot of music back in the day in the newsroom, like to Mike or anybody like that. Did you have those conversations?
Well, I don't think Mike was particularly interested in talking about music. But,
he was just
Harris Allen
He didn't
and
want
I
to talk to Dog half the time.
well, Dove and I would talk music all the time. Matter of fact, when I get here, Dove says to me, I'm the music director. And I said, I know you know music, that's good. But I said, nah, I'll still be in charge of the music.
Joking.
I can't hear you because he's
said the mic down.
joking
What's going
around.
on here?
This is, whoa, boy.
I tried these, but the jack here.
Did you hear we had Mike on last week?
Early.
No, I didn't hear.
Oh.
Now it's working.
Have you talked to Mike lately? Or?
No, I have not.
Really?
Not at all?
You guys were like best buds.
We were at one time, but he went off in a different direction.
We got to mend the fences. Can we have this happen here? Life's too short.
It's okay. I love Mike. I always did, but he hasn't been in touch.
Do you talk to Dog?
Yes, occasionally.
Minko.
Occasionally. Minko occasionally.
There you go.
Minko always says, yeah, I'll call you back. I talked to him for an hour. I'll call you. We get together. We never do.
I got you.
I see Harris Allen, though.
Okay.
We go back to
Big
the
music guy.
70s. We worked at a little radio station in Sussex County, New Jersey called WNNJ, and that's where we met. And when we used to drive back down, I was living in Fort Lee at the time, and he was living out in Brooklyn. We would stop at a Dairy Queen in Sparta, New Jersey, and get banana shakes.
But listen, what Sal just said, I don't want that. That's funny. Bananas. I don't know anybody that gets a banana shake.
I wouldn't get one now. You couldn't pay me to have one of them now.
What's next? Tapioca shake? And he said this when we brought you on. We love that you love radio the way that you do.
I still love radio.
We love it. It's like a drug. It is still the most powerful medium out there. It really is.
You used to listen to the fan, well, obviously when you're running things here, all the time. Like we would be, even if we were doing overnight, part-time, behind the board, whatever, if there was a screw-up, that phone would be ringing, which I liked having that. Even as somebody who might have gotten yelled at one or two times for either going to a break late or whatever, you listened all the time, which is very hard to do. But
and I always tried to have two radios on. Back in the office, I had one radio on fan and one radio on CBS Sports Radio. Plus, I tried to listen to other stuff. And when I was driving around, I always tried to listen to a lot of other things besides the radio station.
What would you advise? Because you obviously have been great about this, but the business has changed, even from when I was an intern 20 years ago to work my way up, whatever, but it's changed so significantly. But you were a person who would always give great advice, obviously being a legend here. What would you advise younger kids now, or even guys like us now with the business evolving the way that it is, to try to cut through and have a successful, sustained run?
At this point, practice, Do a podcast if you have to. Everybody can do something. You just got to practice, but you got to do two things. You got to listen to what you've done, and you've got to ask people you know to give a listen and try to give you an honest opinion of how you sound.
But what are you looking for? Is there anything you would be looking for? Like, is it different, in other words, in 2024 what you're looking for versus what you look for in 2010?
I don't know. I like people to be well-rounded. I know that the world revolves to some degree now about the betting world and stuff like that, so that's different from back then. But, JR Sports Brief works here on the station. How did I find him? Podcast. Somebody said, hey, there are a lot of people do podcasts. You ought to take a listen. One day I'm listening, and I said, who's this guy? And he had, some big celebrity on. I'm saying, how did he get that guy? Anyway, wound up getting in touch with him and the guy who was his agent or manager named Charlie. Mm-hmm. And he wound up coming to work for us. You can find people. Sure. Yeah. You can. In the old days, it was you found somebody because you heard somebody in another market or whatever it was. Danielle McCartan, she was and I think still is a teacher up in North Jersey or in Rockland County or somewhere up there. I heard her doing something. She came in, we talked, and I wound up putting her on the air, too. So sometimes you just find people by talking to them and seeing what they know. Mm-hmm. And it was great finding her because I think she's talented. She gets a fair amount of air shifts.
Yeah, she does. She's on the weekends quite a bit. Yeah. So that's the legendary Mark Chernoff, who was in studio. It is great to have you in, BT and Sal.
Well, now I'll let you get back to talking about Juan Soto. Like you haven't talked about him enough.
Things have changed, though, Mark. As I was telling Mike, the varsity now plays in Queens with Juan Soto. So it's been a nice dynamic.
But you got to give Cashman some credit coming up already with Bellinger and coming up with Max Fried and coming up with
Devin Williams and a first base. But no, I love the pivot. And listen, it's good for both teams to be doing well. But I wanted to go back to something that you said before about like just the business, what you look for. I think the toughest thing for kids today, young students trying to break into the business, is to find their own voice. Because if you think about it, everybody's been influenced by somebody. So when you listen to somebody the way those who want to pursue this for a living listen to people, that voice is kind of ingrained in their head, and they try to replicate it to an extent. And sometimes it takes people a while to figure out really who they are on the air. That's tough for a young broadcaster.
Well, let me tell you something that Eric Spitz came up with years ago, and you may know it or not.
The poke theory?
Yeah. Passion, opinion, knowledge, entertainment. If you can come up with all four of those things, you're going to be successful.
There it is. That's the elixir right there.
You do 3 of the 4, you got a good shot. Anything less than that, it's going to be a problem. You'd just be a run-of-the-mill talent.
Your son's still with the Guardians organization?
He's the general manager of the Guardians. Yeah.
What are we looking at? Are they trading Naylor? Or what?
Naylor coming to us or what?
Listen.
What do you mean? Come on. No. Can we take Ramirez?
Did you go to the playoff games? You were at all the playoff games?
I was.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Detroit, but I saw all the games here, and I saw the Guardians games against the Tigers out there in Cleveland.
By the way, were you stunned that Soto left the Yankees?
I wasn't stunned.
No.
I just thought he was all in for the money. And I don't know, you hear the stories. Was it the suite? Was it an airplane? I mean, who knows if that was it? But Steve Cohen has more money than anybody out there. And I think no matter what the Yankees were going to offer, and I think the Yankees probably, I have no extra knowledge, probably what they realized was anything they would do, Steve Cohen could go one deeper.
What do you miss most about WFAN?
The people.
Is that true?
I love.
Could have fooled me. I don't know.
Oh, come on! Don't say that.
I'm just kidding with you. I'm just kidding.
You've always
been
people.
Great. Yeah, you've always been great to me personally, so I have no issue with that.
I love the people. I mean, I loved coming to work every day. I, came in early. I love seeing Boomer and Carton and Boomer and Gio in the morning, and certainly worked closely with Imus for all the years he was here, and I was always around. We went on the road with him. And
when he passed away, you were here. Did you come in that night? I was hosting. I think I did the evening. You don't remember this, do you? But that was a pretty big. For me, it was a big moment.
I called in. I know that.
Oh, you came in. You were here. I don't know if you called in or came in, whatever, but you were here that night because I remember being on the air. I don't know if it was the evening or the overnight when Imus passed away, which was like a huge thing for the station, obviously. But I remember, working with you on
I was here. You're right.
Yeah, you came in. Yeah, because I was like, oh, crap, Chernoff is here.
We had to put stuff together. We had to do a whole...
Well, Mark, it came up. I'd love, hopefully you'll do this. About 2 weeks, no, hopefully you will. About 2 weeks ago, me and Sal were kicking around the Mount Rushmore of FAN. Francesa chimed in. Minko gave me his list. What is, in your opinion, the Mount Rushmore of WFAN. And Mike and Chris cannot be together. That no team can be together. You can't do it.
It's hard for me to. I can just give you a list of people, but I don't want to miss people either because there were so many things that were important over the years. Imus certainly, Imus, if you wanted to call him the emperor, and Mike and Chris were the kings.
Okay, who's number 4?
It's hard to say, but
would you put yourself on that list?
No, I don't put myself on any list.
Just asking.
No, like to me,
Joe Beningo for all the years he was great, and no, I'm sorry, Boomer, Carton, are definitely up there. I mean, all the years that they did, and putting them on in 2007. So I'm sorry, of course they're right up there.
Right, I
mean, Imus, Mike and Chris, Boomer and Carton, Boomer and Gio.
You can't have everybody on there, Mark. It's got to be just 4.
And even, you know what? You know the story about Evan Roberts, right? But he was, 10 years old.
Did updates on?
With Imus.
His mother sent me a tape, and I listened, and I said to Imus, this kid's really good. Let's put him on here.
Now, was he good because he was a 10-year-old kid and that wasn't really coming across?
He was cocky. He knew what he was talking about.
Yeah?
Yeah, he ad-libbed some of his sportscast. So Imus loved him. He's great. He says, have the kid come back. So I invite the kid back 2 weeks later. He says, get him the H out of here. He stinks. and I don't want to see his mother around here. It's like, okay. So next time I heard from Evan, he was 19 years old. He was working at a station a little outside of Baltimore. He says, do you remember me? I said, yeah. And we went through the whole thing. And he really wanted to come up here. I said, you know what? Let me know when you have some time. I'll give you an overnight or 2. Let's see how you do. And he did great. I offered him, he did, I think, 3 overnights a week for a while. And then eventually, we moved him up to Park.
That's how easy it was, huh?
All these years later, he still acts the same as he did when he was on here as a 10-year-old.
Yeah. As I say, I mean, Summers is, all the people that were here.
That's funny. That was a good one. Oh,
no, it's been a great
It's terrific.
So I hate to categorize anybody as who's the best, who was this, who was that, because they all meant something special. And I'm so glad, that Boomer and Gio are so successful in the morning. You guys seem to be doing great. Evan and Tiki. I met Tiki many, many years ago at a Ruth's Chris. We were doing a remote there, and I got introduced, and he wanted to be on the radio, and eventually we gave him some shifts with somebody. And I said, when you learn hockey, you can do a shift by yourself.
Well, then, what is he doing on the air?
One day he says, I know enough about hockey. And I said, okay, fine, give you a solo show. He eventually went over to 1050 for a little while.
I used to have him on. I remember the Tiki Lounge from Jay-Z's 4040.
But then he came back.
I understand. He came back home.
Your fingerprint's still all over this place with everybody here. How about that?
Well, whatever.
Well, what do you mean? You got to take some pride in that,
legend.
no?
I do.
Legend.
I mean,
you have to be humble.
I was proud to say that
Legend.
I spent almost 29 years at WFAN. That station meant a lot, still means a lot.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time here. As you know, Mark, we have to break. So I hate to cut this short, but I don't want to get yelled at by the boss. Thank you,
Thanks,
Mark.
guys.
You need help taking the headsets off? Thanks,
There you have it.
Shorty.
Former boss Mark
Legend.
Chernoff in the house. We'll come back into your calls to the other side. BT and Sal on the Fan.